Yo, hello everybody and welcome back yet again to another daily update video. My name is CryptoStash and I hope you're having an amazing week. Currently it is Thursday and let's get right into the charts for Bitcoin right now. Still consolidating between that first weekly pivot resistance and the weekly pivot. So I'm expecting some longer consolidation, maybe even until the end of this week and also during the weekend. Since, as you know, Bitcoin, it did have that massive move up, and right now Bitcoin dominance is falling to the downside, currently finding support almost at that last weekly pivot support, the third one. You can see basically it almost broke through it, but right now it is reclaiming it. So this is not what we want to see, since it is possible that we get some kind of a correction and then the Bitcoin dominance starts going up again, which would not be good for the altcoins. And since right now Ethereum almost hitting our last weekly target basically, which is almost 3770, but also firstly we need to break above that 0.786 Fibonacci level, which is sitting at 3500. We basically almost touched that, as you can see, only like $40 away. So momentum still very strong for Ethereum, starting to get overbought, but not yet exactly there, as you can see on the chart. Solana struggling a bit. It has not actually touched that level right here, that value area high. So still at a very strong resistance for Solana. You can see it is historically very strong resistance. So we need to see Solana break out of this range right here in order for us to see more upside and potentially new all-time high, since it has been doing really well. If we measure Solana from that move down, it has had almost 34% pump, and if we measure Ethereum from that dump down, Ethereum has had 62%, so massive pump. Also the same goes for SUI. If we measure it from the downside, we also get 70% pump. So basically the one coin that is still lagging behind is Solana, but this is nothing to worry about in my opinion, since Solana is potentially going to create newer all-time highs very soon. We won't see, I think, potentially never prices for Solana again at these low levels. So basically we will be playing in that big range right here, potentially more a couple of months or maybe a year, and then Solana can finally have its breakthrough. Or even it could happen in the next few weeks if the Bitcoin dominance continues to drop. So in my opinion, Solana, the one time that it breaks out of this value area high, this basically historically strong resistance, and flip it as support, then we can see a potential push to 200, 250, 290, which is my outlook for Solana right now. For Bitcoin, nothing much to say as of right now. The weekly looks nice, but the RSI doesn't. It has touched, as you can see, that 80 line, and currently it is clipping to the downside a bit. And if you look on the 2-day time frame, basically right now we are entering a range. So in my opinion, it is possible that we range a bit longer, even though the stock market is doing pretty nice. The S&P is almost at its all-time high. I think, yeah, the Nasdaq is actually creating right now a new all-time high. So stock market is moving really nice. This is what I want to see. I think the dollar, yeah, the dollar is still having that relief rally. I don't think it has flipped the trend yet. For a trend flip, as you can see right here, we have this trend, the lower lows and lower highs that we have been creating. We want to see for a trend flip in the dollar something like this. So in my opinion, we won't see that, and the dollar, it is currently having a relief rally, and soon we would see another move to the downside potentially for the Dixie. So this would be good for Bitcoin and for more potential move to the upside. Also, let's look at Hype. Hype currently testing its weekly pivot after a very strong move to the upside, currently finding support perfectly, as you can see, at that weekly pivot. And if it manages to hold, then I can see a potential retest of that first weekly pivot resistance, basically $50 for Hype. That would be from current price move of around 7%, which would be very nice gains. But as you can see right now, Ethereum is almost above the weekly pivot resistances. We are very close to hitting my target and then to hitting my potentially last target. But let's not forget about my final target for potentially this year for Ethereum. That would be, let's go on the weekly, that will be 3,953 basically. So we've got only 16% left until we manage to get there. But if the price of Ethereum breaks through it, like something like this, then I would be expecting a move to basically the second yearly resistance, which would be very, very bullish for Ethereum if that happens. Since if you go on a monthly time frame, you can see it is pretty far away from the actual all-time high, which we saw the way back in 21. So from now until there, we've got 40% to the upside, which is somewhere between that last yearly pivot resistance and the second one. So basically 5,000 is also pretty a realistic target in my opinion, since we have it in the cards. As you can see, anything is possible. The potential to the upside is limitless. As you know, crypto can pump very, very much, but it can only dump minus 99% basically. So still bullish on Ethereum. The monthly looks pretty nice. It is possible, if we close the monthly candle like this, that we basically get another engulfing candle to the upside, which will take us to my target basically between the yearly pivot resistances. That would take us around 4,150 would be my perfect target for Ethereum. But as of right now, some warning signs that we can see on the daily. RSI getting overbought, so potentially we can enter some kind of consolidation like we did right here, and then after this consolidation we can see another pump. But in my opinion, once we enter a consolidation like this, it will take potentially a long time. It depends what Bitcoin is doing, and if the Bitcoin dominance finds support here and starts rising again, then we will probably consolidate longer. But yeah, let's take a look at the open interest, CVD, and the liquidations for Bitcoin. We can see we did have today open interest rise while CVD was falling, but price is still not falling below 170,000. Basically, I think it's the weekly pivot. Just let me turn off this one, go on the 8-hour time frame. Yeah, exactly. Basically 117, 160 is that weekly pivot. We are getting short positions opening right here, but the price is not falling. As you can see, we do have open interest rising and our CVD is getting lower. So there are short positions, but as you know, there is also liquidity sitting below. These are late longs in my opinion, from 106 basically to 114 to 110k, and they at some point would get taken out basically. So a correction to around 105k is to keep in mind, since as you know, if we look at the longs to shorts ratio, you can see we do have currently more selling pressure, basically more shorts in the market than longs. But this is only for today. The bias can change very, very quickly, as you know. So again, we got almost 800 million of ETF inflows as of today, which is very, very bullish. for the Bitcoin price. As I said, the institution inflows, in my opinion, are keeping the Bitcoin price steady and well above 100k. As I said in my previous video, the funding rates, they are still remaining positive and low, which is also good for the price. And so yes guys, that will be it for today's update video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe for the channel. Also follow me on X. I post here daily my outlook for the markets, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.